On June 7, 2012, a mayor named Doreen was in an accident on 60th Street and Broadway with an SUV and a motorcycle. No humans were hurt, but Doreen was not so lucky. Her head cracked the windshield of the SUV, she bled from her right eye and was limping. The accident prompted renewed outrage with the organization NYCLASS, or New Yorkers for Clean, Livable, and Safe Streets. They have been trying to pass a bill titled Intro 86A, which would phase out city carriage horses by replacing them with a green and humane alternative. Their plan is to replace the horses with electric vintage replica cars at their own cost. The organization also vows to find homes for all the horses, which usually are sold to slaughterhouses for meat when they can no longer work. Last Friday, June 15th, NYCLASS and their partners organized a press conference on the steps of City Hall as they delivered 84,552 signatures in support of their proposed legislation. Among the speakers at the conference were New York City Public Advocate Bill de Blasio and Bill 86A sponsor, Council Member Melissa Mark Viverito.
What do we do here in public service? We respond to what's happening in our city. We respond to our people, to our neighborhoods. What's happening in this building? Nothing on this issue. The mayor is deaf on this issue. Worse, he dismisses what is now obviously a huge movement. New Yorkers saying so clearly it's time for a change. He dismisses it. He acts like we don't exist. It's not the first time we've had that experience with him. And he says, and this is one of these wonderful, unbelievable Michael Bloomberg quotes, he said this would destroy our tourism industry if we didn't have the horse carriages. I want to call a meeting of all the Broadway theaters and tell them they're obviously irrelevant. The Statue of Liberty. I want all the different tour operators to understand it's just about horse carriages, right? That's it. The only reason people come to New York City. I think the restaurant people are to be crushed when they find out people don't come to New York City for restaurants. The mayor has no right to just mouth off. He has a responsibility to the people of the city to act on this issue. So let's be clear. This will not destroy tourism. We're going to give tourists another option. Replica electric car that's going to be wonderful and a gratifying experience and environmentally friendly, and it's going to work for everyone, and the people doing the work now are going to have an opportunity. So to the mayor I say, give me a break. There's a way to do this. Tourism's going to be fine. Why don't you respond to people who care about the fact that these horses are dying and being injured? Why don't you respond to people who feel this is an arcane policy? Why don't you respond to drivers who think that horse carriages don't belong in the middle of Manhattan? I mean, there's a big coalition here. But we're not hearing anything back from the mayor, and we're not hearing anything back from Speaker Clinton. You know, I was in this building for 8 years in the city council. The city council doesn't have the option to look the other way, particularly when the mayor's not acting. The city council is supposed to step up. That's the nature of our government. We have a legislature, we have an executive. There's a reason we have both. One is supposed to check the other. When the executive won't act, the legislature's supposed to. So I say the same thing to Speaker Clinton. People are demanding action here. We have had accident after accident. You know, is this going to be a situation where once again we have to have an even worse accident for government to act? No, we're all saying let's act now.
Every time we have these press conferences, it's really amazing to see the number of people that come out. And I think it's indicative clearly of the sentiment of a lot of people, not to be the majority in this city, but wanting to change and put an end to this industry. So I want to congratulate you on the collection of the signatures. I hear it's 85,000 that are being delivered. It is quite an unbelievable grassroots effort here to keep raising the visibility about the inhumanity, right? It's an inhumane action in terms of keeping this carriage industry alive, and that what is being offered is a reasonable transition, right? And what's being requested is a reasonable process as we transition out of this carriage industry. So with that, I thank everyone that's here. we will soon see an end to this industry.
Sadly, it seems that every few months there is an accident or death of a carriage horse. Here are a few more examples from this last year. On March 3, 2012, a frightened horse ran into traffic, dragging a tipped-over carriage behind it. The horse fell to the ground at 11th Avenue and 52nd Street around 6 p.m. Witnesses say the horse was shaking. On December 6, 2011, a horse fell to its side across from the Plaza Hotel. Sunday, October 23, 2011, Charlie, a 15-year-old white horse, collapsed and died on his way to Central Park. The carriage drivers claim that the horses are well treated. There are also regulations meant to protect the horses, such as 15-minute breaks every 2 hours and water in the stalls for them to drink. However, horse advocates claim that the rules only work if they are enforced. The ASPCA is charged with the task of enforcement, and some advocates question how successful it is at protecting the horses.